I would say the best word to describe the girl in the tower is simple. Both the plot lines in the present and the past were extremely simple to follow, and all the twists and turns, except for the last one with Dr. Facilier, I could really figure out. Now, simple isn't bad. In fact, I liked the episode. It was very reflective of season one. You know, Tilly was being framed for murder, which is very reflective of season one when Mary Margaret was framed for murder. And then Robin and Alice going on an adventure in Enchanted Forest version 2 is very reflective of Snow White and Charming going on adventures, you know, in all of season 1 through 6 of Once Upon a Time. So I like that because I got very nostalgic while watching it. However, like what was revealed, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I just wish a little bit more was done. But because, you know, Once Upon a Time is a serialized show, I totally understand what was happening. Now, I like the reveal that Alice had magic, how she was able to conjure up the bug, and how she was able to essentially conjure up that troll. I thought that was really cool. But it would have been cool if Alice got to do a little bit more active magic. That would have been nice. Robin and Alice's adventure is essentially Alice is spying on her parents, or her father, because, you know, she can't get near him because it will cause him to die. You know, she runs away. Then, you know, we find out the troll is, you know, attacking the villages, and then Robin and Alice team up, and they stop the villagers from attacking the troll, and then the troll turns to the statue, which is essentially Alice's saving grace in the present-day storyline, because Hook and, or Rogers in the present, is trying to get Alice to have an alibi, so that way she can't be framed for killing the blind baker. And essentially because that troll got a security camera in it because of a graffiti incident, it was able to have a timestamp of where Tilly was at, you know, the time the witch was murdered. And that was really it. Now, we'll talk about the Regina and Facilier thing in a minute, but what really bothered me about the present storyline was nothing with Gothel was revealed. There was no Coven of Eight. You know, season 7 Part B was hyped up to be the War of the Witches, and I really feel that nothing has happened since the episode where Lady Tremaine died with the War of the Witches, and that's kind of a bummer. Like, I understood like last week's episode, and I liked last week's episode quite a bit. And again, I didn't dislike this episode, but because it's Alice based, and yes, it is, you know, showing us the relationship that Robin and Alice had in episode 10, I want to know why Gothel was excluded from this episode completely. Like, she could have had a major storyline in the present, because, you know, she's the leader of this Coven of Eight, and she wasn't even in this episode. And I thought that was really, really odd. Speaking of characters they also excluded, Tiana wasn't in this episode, and Cinderella wasn't in this episode. Now, sadly, because the way the show's been written, Tiana and Cinderella don't have a massive presence on either the present or the past, you don't feel their absence, which is fine. Like, I was okay that they weren't in this episode because I was very much focused on what was going on with Tilly and what was going on with Regina and what was going on with Alice and Robin in the past. So, like, that was fine. Like, I totally understood the cuts, but because Gothel's supposed to be this main antagonist, I'm just wondering, why isn't she here, especially since the episode is focused on her daughter? And which, by the way, Alice and Gothel, at least in Hyperion Heights, haven't had an opportunity to interact at all, except when Alice saw Gothel on the video camera. Now, the other storyline of this episode was Lucy and Regina teaming up, doing another operation to figure out what was going on with Facilier. Lucy snuck into Facilier's apartment. Regina is distracting him. There was a fun interaction where Kelly or Zelina comes up and interrupts the date. And then at the end of the episode, you know, Facilier does the cards because, you know, he found Lucy's hat and knows why, or figured out that Lucy was in his apartment, and then he does those cards with Regina, the tarot cards, and says that there's a great love in your future. And I thought, oh, maybe it's gonna be him. Could it be another Robin Hood? Who else could it be? They talked about Regina having a romance, so I'm assuming one is going to be coming up. But that was really it. Like, it felt very, very stagnant. And you know, if Once Upon a Time wasn't getting canceled, I would feel that this episode would be fine because it's fleshing out Alice. But I just wish we saw a little bit more. But I very much enjoyed what I saw. I felt it was very nostalgic, which was great. I like Tira Scovey as Robin. I'm glad that she's in Hyperion Heights. Her name is Margot in her curse form. And I actually really like the fact that Zelina felt very guilty about lying to her, and the same thing applied to Regina. I just want to know, essentially, what the end game is for Mother Gothel, and kind of what the end game is for Facilier. So that's also something I did like. I like that he said he wants the Dark One dagger, and I'm like, oh, Shadow Man, shadows are dark. He wants the Dark One dagger because he probably wants more power. I mean, Facilier in the Princess and the Frog movie was extremely power hungry, which is why he was trying to get Naveen's chauffeur to marry Lottie, so that way he could essentially get a ton of influence in New Orleans, and then maybe even spread beyond it. But that didn't happen. But the point is, in the movie, he's power hungry, and it seems in Princess and the Frog, or in Once Upon a Time, he's very power hungry as well. But I want to know his intent, and again, I want to know Gothel's intent. So this episode wasn't bad. It was really nice. It was a really nice episode to watch. I just wish a little bit more was fleshed out. The killer, for instance, like beyond the fact that Alice was being framed for what was going on with the killer, like why was another witch introduced? Now, I know that they said that not a new witch should be plopped in every week, but we only have a limited amount of episodes left. So are we even going to see these other members of the Coven of Eight, especially since Emma Boot's final episode is episode 20, which is coming up? So what did you guys think of the episode? Did you think that Robin and Alice's romance was really good? Now, I will say this, speaking of Robin and Alice's romance, I felt the chemistry between Tira Scovey and Rose Reynolds so much more than I felt it between Danya Ramirez and Andrew West. I actually really liked their relationship. I liked how it's in the blooming stages in the present, or in the past, and the fact that they even got to meet in the present. That was really nice, and I hope that they get back together really soon, because I actually want to see more of that relationship come up, because the LGBT relationships have really been null at Once Upon a Time. You know, there was the Ruby and Dorothy thing, but that was really one-off, and I really hope that Robin and Alice isn't queer baiting, and I hope that we get to see a little bit more of it, because I did like it. It was really nice. So what did you guys think about that? What did you think about Alice's getting out of the tower, Alice having magic? Again, I like the fact that Alice has magic. I think that's really cool, because it shows that magic is able to be passed down. We saw that with Robin, obviously, with Zelina. But I hope that Alice will be able to maybe have control of her magic. And what do you think Facilier's plan with the Dark One dagger is? So anyway, share your thoughts in the comments below about this episode. Again, I just thought it was very simplistic, very easy to process, and very easy to watch. The review is a little shorter because of its simplicity, because it didn't require too much depth and analysis. I think next week's episode will be awesome, because I love the trailer, and we'll talk about the trailer really soon. All right, guys, thanks for watching my review. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll talk real soon. Bye.